Hello students, once again this is your history teacher Dr. Sushma from JNB Gonda, Mankapur. As you know that I had already uploaded videos of lesson 1 and 2 and they were in Hindi and English in both the languages, but I was receiving so many requests from the students to upload the videos in English. So now today I am going to upload the video of chapter 11 of class 12, okay, NCERT book. That is chapter 11, Rebels and Raj. That is Rebels and Raj. So today we are going to study about chapter 11 of class 12. Okay. I hope you must be studying at home. As you all know that the classes are not running regularly, properly. You all are studying at home, attending online classes. So just to overcome from the loss of learning opportunity, I am doing this effort for you people only. I hope you must be taking benefit of my videos. Okay. So here we start. Now your topic is Rebels and Raj. One more thing I would like to tell you. Previously it was Rebels and Raj, but when you will see the book of 2020, the latest edition, they have changed the name. The name has become this one. See what is the name now? The name is Representations of 1857. As such, there is no difference in the content. The content inside the chapter is still same, point wise everything, word to word is same. But they have just changed the name. Now the name has become Representation of 1857, but the chapter is same. Now what we are going to study in this chapter, we are going to cover how the revolt started. First thing is how the revolt started. Second, what were the lines of communication, how they were communicating with each other. Because it is spread in northern India mainly, in different places. So how it reached, how was the communication developed. Okay. Then we will be doing who were the leaders and who were following them. Leaders and followers. Next is what were rumors and prophecies. Some rumors were spread, prophecies were there. So what they were actually, we will be discussing about them. Then we will be doing revolt of Awadh. Revolt in Awadh, that is very important for you because long question, short question, everything comes from this point. Revolt in Awadh, annexation of Awadh also we say. Then the last topic in this video, that is the Firangi Raj and the end of a word. I have uploaded my video in two parts. So in first part we are going to study this much, and in the second part I will continue after that. Okay. Now see what is the first thing in this chapter. Rebels and Raj, that is, I am giving you an introduction here. Now on 10th May 1857, the rebel started. Rebel means the mutiny started. Now what happened? Who were the mutineers? From where it started? All these comes into your mind. It started from Meerut. Meerut, you must be knowing, is in UP. Meerut is a place in UP. It started from here. The revolt started from Meerut. A group of mutineers, they marched from Meerut to Delhi. Now from Meerut, where did they reach? They reached to Delhi. From 10th, it started on 10th May and on 11th May, they reached to Delhi. Now at that time in 1857, who was the emperor, who was the ruler in Delhi? Now in Delhi, when they reached to Delhi, what did they actually expecting from Delhi? Why they had gone to Delhi? Emperor was Bahadur Shah Zafar. You must have heard the name of Bahadur Shah Zafar. He was the last Mughal emperor. Bahadur Shah Zafar was the last Mughal emperor, and this mob, they wanted the support of ruler. That is why they had reached there. Why did they want the support? Because they want to make their mutiny legitimate. So they want a leader. They were ready, of course, but they wanted a leader. So they asked Bahadur Shah Zafar. Delhi mein, who was there in Delhi? Bahadur Shah Zafar. He was the emperor. In Delhi, Bahadur Shah Zafar was the emperor. So people asked, the mutineers, the rebels asked Bahadur Shah Zafar to accept the leadership. Now, what they were programs? When they were marching, how did they start? Bahadur Shah Zafar was surrounded by sepoys in the Delhi. He was not ready to accept the leadership. But what happened? When he saw that he was surrounded by rebels and he was left with no option, then he had to accept the leadership of the revolt. So in this way, he accepted the leadership of the revolt, right? Now, how did it start? how they were giving signals to others. Somewhere they started it with the sound of cannon fire. Somewhere it started with the sound of bugle, or you can say trumpet. It is an instrument, wind instrument. So it started with that. They attacked in the bungalows of the British. They also attacked in the jails, courts, telegraph, the government offices. So in this way they were destroying everything. So this you can see here also. How did they start the mutiny? If you wish, you can take the screenshots of my PowerPoint also. Because if you are just learning this much, you don't need to open the book. This is sufficient. So if you just take the screenshot, you will get the complete material. No need to open the book. Okay. Now, most important thing in this you can see here, Hindus and Muslims. In this, important thing was Hindu-Muslim unity. Now, not only Hindus plus Muslims both participated in this revolt. This was also known as First War of Independence. Why do we call it First War of Independence? Because this was the first time when people of India were united on such a large scale against British government. Before this, they were never united. This was the first time when they were united on such a large scale against British government. And this time they had achieved Hindu-Muslim unity. They were supporting, they were helping each other also. The next thing comes the lines of communication. Lines of communication means how they were communicating to each other. They were communicating to each other. The messages were going from one part to other part. So how it was happening? They were not having such means like we are having today. They were not having internet facility. They were not having email. They were not having WhatsApp. So how the messages were going to other places? Now, some system they had developed. When we say communication, so some system was developed by them. Because one incident is there. How do we know? Because one incident is there. It started because when the 7th Irregular Infantry, the sepoys or 7th Irregular Infantry denied to use the cartridges. At that time, one thing I would like to tell you, a new kind of Enfield rifle. A new kind of rifle was introduced, and that is known as Enfield rifle. Now, cartridges were also introduced. Now, these cartridges, why they were denying, why they were not ready to accept these cartridges? Because the rumor was there that the cartridges are greased with the fats of pigs and cows. So, neither Hindus nor Muslims were ready to use these cartridges because pigs and cows, both pigs are unholy for Muslims, cows are holy for Hindus. So they denied. What was actually system? Before fitting them, they were greased with the fats of pigs and cows, and before fitting them in the rifle, they had to take a bite from their mouth. So they thought that they are trying to destroy their religion. That is why they were not ready to. Who was not ready? Ready to use 7th Irregular Cavalry. They were not ready to use. They were not ready to use the new cartridges. Now they said we are waiting for the instructions to come from 48 Native Infantry. When we say 7, 48, 41, so this is the number. Today also we said this and this number of battalion, this and this number of battalion. So these are the numbers given to them. In cantonment area, the numbers are given. Now they said that we are waiting for instructions to come from 48 Native Infantry. That means they had developed some system of communication, and the message was coming. They were waiting for the message. Now what was the problem at that time? You can see the Indian sepoys, they were given the responsibility of safety and security of Captain Hersey. They were given the responsibility of safety and security of Captain Hersey during mutiny. This time 41 Native Infantry was also deputed there, and it was decided by our military either to kill the captain or hand him over to 41 Native Infantry. So two options were given, either to kill the Captain Hersey or hand him over to 41 Native Infantry. So it was decided that a decision will be taken in Panchayat. Now Panchayat, what was Panchayat at that time? Panchayat means a representative of all the regiments were there in the Panchayat. There was a historian of that time, you can see Charles Ball. Charles Ball is a contemporary historian. He has written about these Panchayats, that the Panchayats were held at night in Kanpur, and the members were the representative of each regiment. So the decision had to be taken there, right? Now we are coming to the next. Now you can see these are the main leaders of the revolt. Bahadur Shah Zafar, just now I told you, Bahadur Shah Zafar, he was a emperor of Delhi, Mughal emperor. Then this is Nana Sahib. This is Nana Sahib, he was the leader in Kanpur. Then next is Rani Lakshmi Bai, you all are familiar. She led the revolt at Jhansi, right? So these were the main leaders. Now coming to the next thing, you will have to learn these things. Okay, just keep it in your mind. Now who were the leaders and where they were leading the revolt? So in Delhi you can see, in Delhi Bahadur Shah Zafar was there. Then in Kanpur, Nana Sahib was leading the revolt. In Jhansi, Lakshmi Bai was leading the revolt. And in Awadh, who was leading? Nawab of Awadh, he was displaced. So, in the name of Nawab, British Qadr, his son was the leader, and it was done by Begum Hazrat Meher. So, all the participants, all the leaders were not belonging to this emperor or queen. They were not emperor, they were not rulers or queen. Because we can see in Badaut Pargana in UP, the leader was Shah Amal, and he was a common people. He had organized ordinary people, ordinary village people. Then next is you can see Gonu. He was giving support to coal trade. Gonu was giving support to coal trade, and he led the revolt in Singhbhumi, that is in Chota Nagpur. So this is all about the leaders. They all were leading the revolt. Now this is very important, and the question of map also comes from here. In your exam also, sometimes the places are marked, ABC is given, you have to locate the places. You can see these are the important places, Lucknow, or you can say Awadh, then Kanpur is there, then you can see Bihar, Ara, then Jhansi, Meerut, Delhi. These are the important centers of revolt of 1857. Then what happened at that time? Why the revolt started? There were so many reasons. When we say it started because of many reasons, so what were the reasons actually? Now there were rumors. Many rumors were there. Rumors and prophecies. Prophecies, you can say predictions were there. Rumors, one rumor was, now what were the rumors? When we say that point wise, then one was about cartridges. One rumor was regarding cartridges. Second rumor was about the floor. That the floor is consisting the bone dust. That I'll tell you just now. Then the third one was 100 years are over. 100 years are over, right? Now let us see. Rumors, when we say cartridges I've already told you, cartridges, new kind of rifle was introduced, and which greased cartridges. These cartridges were greased. Main problem was these cartridges were greased. Greased with what? Greased with fat of cow and pig. So the problem was cow was holy for Hindus, pig was unholy for Muslims. So both of them denied to use the cartridges, because before fitting in them in the rifle, they had to take a bite from their mouth. So in this way, their religion was affected, and they said that British are trying to make them Christian. Second was about the floor. The rumor is spread that British had mixed the bone dust of cow and pig in the flour. Flour is, we are using it daily. We are making chapatis, we are making bread of flour. So it was not possible to deny the use of flour. So when this rumor spread, then there was great upheaval. Then next was the prophecies. We say rumors and prophecies. What prediction? One prediction was also done about this, that 100 years are over. After every 100 year, Delhi changes its ruler. Now 100 years of what were over? In 1757. What happened in 1757? You all know, in the same month, in the month of June, in 1757, Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey had taken place. Okay, so in 1757, Battle of Plassey had taken place. So it was predicted now 100 years are over, there will be change in the system, there will be change in the government. Now 1757, 1857. So these were the three rumors about the revolt. Why they were starting, what were the causes of the revolt. So these rumors or prophecies, they spread widely spread. Now rumors were there. Okay, it's okay. When some rumor is there, then why people started believing on that? That means something was wrong there. If some rumors are spread today also, if some problems are there, why do we believe that? Means some problem is there, something is wrong. So what was wrong? Because the policies of the British, the policies they had adopted, they were confusing the people. How they were confusing the people? Let us see. What sort of policies were adopted by the government, British government, what they were doing? Britishers were interfering in the personal matters of Indians. Now what sort of personal matter? When we say personal matters, so why do they believe? Why Indians believed on rumors. If rumors are there, let them spread. Why we are believing on that? That means something is wrong. Now what was wrong? First thing, British, what they were doing? They were spreading Western education. So one point is Western education. They were opening Western institutions. Then they were providing Western education. So Indians thought that they are destroying their culture, their religion, their language also, because we were receiving education in Hindi, in Sanskrit, in Urdu, in Farsi. So why to receive education in English? But they were propagating Western institutions. They were providing education in English. Now, second thing, why they started believing. This is the evidence why they started believing. Second thing, they had introduced many reforms. Reforms by Britishers. Number one, what they had introduced? Sati abolition. Sati abolition. Then, second reform, Widow Remarriage Act. Of course, these were bad practices in our society. We can't say that this was good. Of course, Sati system was bad. Widows were not allowed to remarry. This was a bad practice. But Indians were not ready to accept any change in their system. Now they thought Britishers are interfering in their matters. Britishers are interfering and they want to bring a change. That is why they thought they are not doing any good with them. Then third thing, you see 3 points are there. Now third, why they started believing on rumors? Because of the policies of the British. When we say policies of the British, there were so many policies which were against Indians. Now which policies were introduced? They were annexing Indians, they were annexing Indian territories. How they were annexing Indian territories? In this, we have to discuss two important policies. Otherwise, most of the policies introduced by Britishers were against Indian. But when we talk here, especially in the case of mutiny, there were two main policies. One was doctrine of lapse and another was subsidiary alliance. So, I think this much is clear. Why Indians started believing on rumors? Because they were introducing Western education and the reforms introduced by Britishers were not accepted by Indians. They thought they were interfering in the social, in the personal matter. Then the policies introduced by Britishers. Now see, look here. Christian missionaries, I told you, they were introducing their customs and practices. Now the annexation on the pretext of doctrine of lapse introduced by Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie, he had introduced doctrine of lapse. Now one thing you understand first, what was doctrine of lapse? Because many Indian states were annexed on the basis of doctrine of lapse. Jhansi, Nagpur, Satara, they all were annexed on the basis of doctrine of lapse. Okay, now doctrine of lapse. Doctrine of lapse. Who introduced? It was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. Now what was this policy actually? Understand first, okay? Lord Dalhousie had introduced doctrine of lapse. Means Indian rulers, those who were not having their natural son, were not allowed to adopt the son. If they wanted to adopt the son, they were supposed to take prior permission from the government, which was generally not granted. So after the death of the ruler, they were annexing that territory. So this was doctrine of lapse. Means in case of not having natural hire, after the death of the ruler, the territory was going in hands of Britishers. So this was done to expand the empire. So this was doctrine of lapse. This was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. For 1 mark question, you will have to remember who introduced doctrine of lapse. Lord Dalhousie. Which state was annexed? Jhansi, Nagpur, Saqqara. They all were annexed on the pretext of doctrine of lapse. Now the second thing is, see, this is also very important because long question also comes from here. Subsidiary alliance. I said 2 policies were accepted. Now one thing you have done here, that is doctrine of lapse, and second thing is subsidiary alliance. Subsidiary alliance was introduced in 1798 by Lord Wellesley. Lord Wellesley had introduced subsidiary alliance in 1798. Now what was the problem? What was wrong in this policy? If he had introduced, no problem, but something was definitely wrong because the motive behind introducing this policy was not positive. With a negative attitude, he had introduced the policy. So Lord Wellesley introduced subsidiary alliance. Subsidiary alliance. It was introduced by Lord Wellesley. Okay, when in 1798. Now what were the provisions? Why this policy was not good? You know, Awadh was annexed on the basis of subsidiary alliance only. Awadh was annexed because of subsidiary alliance. They had signed subsidiary alliance in 1801. Awadh. Now problem was, those who were 3 or 4 points are there. Those who were signing, those who were entering in this alliance, they were not supposed to keep their army. First of all, what they were saying, this is our responsibility. Your safety and security is our responsibility. First, Britishers said that the safety and security of ally, is the responsibility of British government. If you are entering in this treaty, that means you don't need to worry. I am there. Okay, I am there. I'll help you. So this was the first point. The safety of ally is the responsibility of British government, according to Lord Wellesley. Second thing, those who were signing this, those who were accepting these alliances, they were not supposed to keep their own troops. One British troop was deputed. This was the problem. British troop was deputed in their territory. British troop was deputed. Where it was deputed? It was deputed in the territory of Indian ruler. So do you understand the purpose? What they were doing? They were very clever. They wanted to make Indian rulers cripple. They wanted to paralyze them. But you were not allowed to do anything without my permission. So what they were doing? They had kept a troop in Indian territories. Who was bearing the expenses? It was maintained on the expenses of Indian ruler. This troop was maintained on the expenses of Indian ruler, right? So who was bearing all the expenses? Indian ruler. So how we can say this was a good policy. One more thing was there. Those who were entering in this policy were not allowed to sign any treaty. So third point was, this army was maintained on the expenses of Indian rulers, right? Now fourth thing, this is also important. Fourth point was, those who were entering in this treaty, those who were accepted, now they were not ready, they were not allowed to sign, any treaty. They were not allowed to sign any treaty or engage themselves in warfare. So this was controlled by British government. See, they were not independent to take any decision. All the decisions were taken by British government. Right? This was all about this subsidiary alliance, which was introduced by Lord Wellesley. So these are the important points. You just go through it. You can take a screenshot of this also. Now the next thing, this is very important for you. Then comes annexation of Awadh, because Awadh was annexed on the basis of subsidiary alliance. In 1801, subsidiary alliance was signed by Nawab, and then still Nawab was enjoying powers, but slowly and slowly, gradually what we see, Nawab, it was declared that Nawab had lost the control. In 1801, you can see subsidiary alliance was imposed on Awadh in 1801. Nawab became dependent on British army. He lost the control on Taluqdars, lost the control on rebels also. Now, it was already declared by Dalhousie. They considered Awadh as a cherry fruit. You know, cherry is a delicious fruit. They said it is a cherry, and one day this cherry will fall into a mouth. This is a very common quotation. One day, a cherry that will drop into a mouth. Why they were saying? Because of the importance of Awadh. Why Awadh was very important? Why they were interested in Awadh? They were interested in Awadh because Awadh was good. The soil of Awadh was good for growing indigo and cotton. One thing. Second thing, in Awadh, they were trying to establish good or big market. That is why. So, three important things were there. One thing, the soil was good for growing indigo and cotton. And second thing was big market in North India. So what they did, they annexed Awadh on the false pretext of mismanagement. Awadh, what did they say? There is maladministration. Actually, it was not. They said there is maladministration. But the thing is, there was not means they were saying there is misgovernment, right? British declared that there is misgovernment, and the subject of Awadh is not happy with the Nawab. But this was actually absolutely wrong, because the people had too much faith in the Nawab. When Nawab was displaced and exiled to Calcutta, now Kolkata, then the subject, they also followed the Nawab for 75 to 80 kilometers from Lucknow to Kanpur. So when they are following their Nawab, they were crying like anything. They said, we have lost a life. The life has gone from the body. The statements were used by the people that the life has gone from the body. Now you can imagine how he was not popular among the masses. He was very popular, but this was a false pretext of misadministration. Nawab of Awadh. Who was Nawab of Awadh at that time? Wazid Ali Shah. He was the Nawab. Okay, Nawab of Awadh was Wazid Ali Shah, and he was displaced. And later on, he was exiled. Exiled where? He was exiled to Calcutta. Now we say Kolkata, right? So, in Awadh, who led the revolt now? Begum Hazrat Mahal. So this you can see here also in the screen. The points are given, and again I am telling you, these are the important points. You don't need to open the book even if you go through the points properly. This is very good video, and all the important points are given here. You just take a screenshot. Faiz Ali Shah was displaced and exiled to Calcutta. There was a emotional upheaval, means the people were emotionally attached with the Nawab. Now, with the displacement of Nawab, many people, they lost their job. Those who were patronized by Nawab, like there were many musicians, poets, painters, cooks, they all lost their job. Then, the effect was in Talukdar also. Talukdars were there, and they were enjoying a lot of powers. They were living lavish life. Their life was like a king. They were having their fort, they were having their army, they were having large pieces of land, they were collecting revenues. So these were the rights given to Talukdars. They were enjoying a lot of powers. When he was displaced, when Nawab was displaced, Talukdar, their life was also affected. Now why it was affected? Because of the interference of British government. British government thought, they said that Talukdars are exploiting peasants, and they have acquired such large pieces of land by force or by fraud, and they are exploiting peasants. So we are going to improve the condition of peasants. Actually, it was not done by Britishers, but in the beginning, it was declared by them. We will improve the condition of peasants. Now, Talukdars, they were having a lot of powers. You can see here, they had their forts, they had their army. What Britishers did, look here, they destroyed their forts and they were disarmed also. Means army, it was also removed, and their forts were also destroyed. Now, summary settlement was also introduced. What is summary settlement? Summary settlement is एक मुश्त बंदोबस्त. There is a word for this, एक मुश्त बंदोबस्त. Also, you will find this word in the book. Summary settlement. Because of summary settlement, also the life of Talukidar was affected, and the number of villages, total number of villages in the beginning, they were having approximately 67% of total number of villages of Awadh. Now it reduced to 38%. Means the powers of Talukidars, they all were grabbed by the government. Now British, they wanted to reduce the exploitation, but in reality it was not done. Even the revenue rate also increased from 30 to 70%, you can see. Now when Talukidars, this question also comes, life of people, when Talukidars were displaced, Talukidars are the landowners, they are the zamindars. Talukidars were also displaced. They were also enjoying a lot of power in the beginning in pre-British rule. Now social order also disturbed. How social order was disturbed? Social order also disturbed because who were there? Peasants were there. Peasants and Talukidar. There was a bond. There was a bond between them. Peasants and Talukidar. There was a bond because in hardships, whenever these people, whenever peasants were in hardship, they were getting help from Talukidars. They were, in case of failure of crop, in case of need of money, in case of they were having any ceremonies. So whenever they were in hardship, they were getting help from Talukidars, and they were also acting as a guardian also. There was a bond. They were related to each other. When Talukidars, their powers were snatched, then the life of peasant also affected. Their life was also affected because now the British government, these people, they were not attached with them at all, right? Now coming to the next thing. Many Talukidars, they joined Begum Hazrat Nair. Begum Hazrat Nair, she was Begum of Nawab Wazir Shah. So after Nawab Wazir Shah, Begum, she had collected a big army and she was leading the revolt. Now dissatisfaction among peasants. Our peasants were dissatisfied. Peasants were dissatisfied. Why they were dissatisfied? Because of the policies of the Britishers. Now peasants also joined sepoys. They became sepoys. One more thing you will be seeing later on, like what was happening in Awadh army, in Bengal army, sorry. In Bengal army, what was happening, that we will be doing later on. So many peasants, they joined army, they started working as sepoys. Now sepoys were also not happy. Why they were not happy? Because of the policies of the government. In the beginning, before the revolt, when we say in the decade of 1820, the relationship between Indians and British were too good. They had developed cordial relations. They had developed very good relations. They were having feasts with each other. They were enjoying parties. They were well versed in Hindustani. But later on, there was change in their behavior. In the decade of 1820, it was good. But in the decade of 1840, the picture changed. Total picture was changed. Why? Because Britishers started considering themselves superior than Indians. That was the problem. The relations in the decade of 1820 were very good. In 1840, it was just reverse. Now, links between peasants and sepoys. How the peasants and the sepoys were linked with each other? Because many peasants, they joined army. They became sepoys. And it was said that Awadh was the nursery of Bengal army. Awadh was the nursery of Bengal army. Why? Because in Bengal army, most of the sepoys were from the villages of Awadh. The sepoys were from the villages of Awadh. Where? In Bengal army. That is why we say it was a nursery of Bengal army, right? Then peasants were not satisfied. There was discontentment among them and they joined army. They started working as sepoys, right? The next is the relations we have already discussed. Now, next part we will be, this is all about this part, first part, right? In the next part, we will discuss